What's going on, everybody? Jhow here. In this video, we're going to cover the new Paladin set that focuses on Blessed Hammer, as well as some of the new 2.3 items that really make this thing work. I'm going to go over some of the early skills that I'm using, as well as showcase the pieces that are on the PTR right now, and go over how to use them, and then look at possible builds that you can possibly make going forward with the Crusader into 2.3. As of this video, it's very early on in the PTR, which means that there's going to be a lot of builds revolving around this new set, the Seeker of the Light. This is going to make use of Blessed Hammer as well as Falling Sword. The set pieces include gloves, shoulders, helm, chest, pants, and boots to get the full 6-piece bonus. Other new items in 2.3 are Johanna's Argument, which says increase the attack speed of Blessed Hammer by 100%. The Bracers, which says when your Blessed Hammer hits 3 or fewer enemies, anywhere between 75 to 100% of its wrath cost is refunded. Now, when you're attacking really fast, you'll find yourself blowing through wrath pretty quickly, but that's going to be focused mainly on the greater rift bosses or rift bosses, because that's where most of your single target damage is done. The other legendary item is the Guard of Johanna, which says Blessed Hammer damage is increased by anywhere between 200 to 250% for the first 3 enemies it hits. Again, very good for single target damage. So there you can see that there is a lot of new set pieces and legendaries for the Crusader. The best part about the Crusader and every other class in patch 2.3 is that you have Kanai's Cube, which allows you to essentially have passives for your weapon, armor, and jewelry. Right now you'll see that I'm benefiting from the Furnace, which allows me to utilize another item instead of the Furnace and not be dedicated specifically to that. Another one that I'm testing very early on in the PTR is Pride's Fall. Now keep in mind there's going to be a lot of combinations. Again, this is the PTR and it's very early on. Once patch 2.3 hits, I'll be bringing you guys builds for every single class, and I'm going to be doing a lot of testing over the next month or so whenever the PTR goes down. So be sure, if you're not subscribed already, to be sure and subscribe for future builds as well. Being able to utilize items that you couldn't use previously allows you to now use stuff like the Stone of Jordan, a Unity in your other ring slot if you're playing solo, and a Convention of Elements, which means that your damage is going to go up tremendously, and you're also going to be able to maintain survivability. So let's take a look at some of the skills that I've been using very early on in the PTR. Like I said, a lot of these are probably going to change, but very early on these seem to be very effective. Shield Glare with Divine Verdict should look fairly familiar. This says blinded enemies take 20% more damage for 4 seconds. This is really good because not only does it help crowd control, but it also allows you to do more damage. And then your main attack, Blessed Hammer. Now, I've been having a lot of fun with Dominion. I don't think this is going to be the way to go, but it is nice, and I'm sure we'll find a way to use this as time permits. But this is the hammer now orbits you as you move, so you can cast it, and then when you move, those hammers tend to follow you. I've been messing around with something like that in Steed Charge. However, for a conventional build, you'll probably go with something with like Burning Wrath, which says that 25% chance to scorch the ground over which it passes, and since you're casting that many hammers, that's a pretty high chance. The other part is Thunderstruck. This allows lightning to arc between you and the hammer to do additional damage, so that's pretty nice as well, to be able to push out as much damage as you possibly can. Now, as I mentioned, I had been messing with Steed Charge. However, I did find that I do still need Iron Skin the higher difficulty that I go up. This says your skin turns to iron, absorbing 50% of all incoming damage, and using that with Steel Skin means that's for 7 seconds. This will probably be required for a lot of really high greater rifts, but like I said, a lot of changes still to be made. Next, Provoke with Hit Me. This again is one of those things. This says gain 50% increased block chance for 4 seconds after casting Provoke, and the fact that that's going to have a 1 second cooldown every time you hit an enemy means you're going to have a 50% chance to block pretty much permanently. Then taking a look, Laws of Justice. Now we don't necessarily need the attack speed here, so we're going to go with Decaying Strength. Empower the Law, granting you and your allies 490 increased resistance to all element for 5 seconds. This is very important because, again, at high greater rifts, you're going to need to stay alive. You can go by doing a lot of damage, but that's going to be more of a matter of chance to find the right rift. However, the safer bet is with Laws of Justice and Iron Skin, and then of course with Shield Glare. Back to Shield Glare. If you do find yourself and you want to have some type of primary ability to generate Wrath, I do recommend Slash. Now, I haven't had a need for it yet, but I can imagine that there are going to be situations to where you will need that Wrath. Last up, Falling Sword with Superheated. I've been using a lot of fire skills so far, and this says the ground you fall on becomes superheated for 6 seconds, dealing 310% weapon damage as fire per second to all enemies who pass over it. This is really good if you're going to be hopping into a group of enemies, which is what I opened the video with. It looks like that. Really cool animation. It's a little bit slow, so we'll see how effective this can be in the right moments. For the passives, you'll definitely want to go with Blunt. This increases Blessed Hammer damage by 20%. Hard to pass that up. Fervor. This is one that, depending on what weapon you're using and whether you feel you need that increased attack speed, this increases your attack speed by 15% and all cooldowns are reduced by 15%. That goes hand in hand with things like Provoke and your Shield Glare to be able to have enough Wrath and to be able to get it back as quickly as possible. It also plays into Falling Sword to be able to do a lot of damage, have that damage mitigation, and a whole bunch of good stuff all in one there. Indestructible, without a shadow of a doubt, you should be running this. This is your second life, and you will need this. Finery is one of those things that will continue to be looked at, as this says gain 1.5 strength for every gem socketed into your gear. This is hard to pass up, but again, we will be looking at stuff in the near future. Now, again, this is the PTR. As more builds come out, I will be showcasing quite a bit over the next few weeks and possibly month for the PTR, and then on into patch 2.3. If you have not subscribed already and you're looking for more future builds and other gaming content, be sure and subscribe. I'll be taking a look at every other class on the PTR as well, so be sure and stop in and see what other classes have in store. So far, the Crusader, who's been one of my least played characters, is now looking to be one of my favorite characters heading into Season 4. I'm really excited for patch 2.3, and I'm real curious to know, hey, what are you excited about as well? With Kanai's Cube coming up to where we can utilize all kinds of talents or affixes and allow us to open up the playbook for a lot of these builds, I'm really curious to see what you guys are looking at and what you're most excited about. Now, if you like the build or you like the video and you want to hit that like button below, that is always appreciated. Also, if you want to share this, then be sure and do that as well. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Till next time, happy hunting. See you again.